What's enabled the Australian Museum to keep on going over all that time is, well, a number of things. There's an Act of Parliament, obviously, about our collections, to look after our collections. But the collections are the core of the whole museum in a way. The collections are why we're here. The collections represent snapshots in time and space of natural history and anthropology, of course, as well. There are other areas, but I'm not qualified to talk about those. But certainly the fish collection, the natural history collections, all those 1.8 million specimens in the fish collection represent an animal that was caught in a particular place at a particular time, and we've got the database to support that, so we can answer all kinds of questions about where species occur, when they occurred, are distributions changing, this kind of thing. Unlike other institutions like fisheries or universities, which may do fantastic research, ecological research, whatever, they don't have the collections to back up their research, which means that if anybody questions whether in fact it was species A. bias that was being worked on, or in fact A. bias through taxonomic work we realise is now 3 species, what's that going to do to the research that was based on these specimens that are no longer kept? So having the specimens is vital. They are the backbone of the museum and our research. Of those, the most important, of course, are the type specimens. And a type specimen is the specimen used in a formal description of a new species. So if you go out into the harbour tomorrow and you catch 3 fish that turn out to be a new species, one of those will be designated the holotype, and that is the name-bearing specimen. The other 2 are paratypes, which are, if you like, backups and quite often sent to other institutions in case there's a disaster at our institution. But that one specimen, the holotype, is the name-bearing specimen for that species, and that documents that species. And the museum here, the Australian Museum, we have the 4th biggest fish type collection in the world, after the museums in Paris, London and Washington DC. And it's an immensely important part of the collection. Here at the museum, we are an honest broker, and I've never been told you may not speak about this. If there's something controversial and I have an opinion and the museum has backed that up with research, no problems, go for it. So the media, they know what they're getting with the Australian Museum. It's on honesty and truth and, as far as we can tell, the latest information. There's also questions from the public. We are the place to go. We are geared to public inquiries. We're geared to helping the public and, as I say, being an honest broker about it. And this is where my current project, the Australasian Fishes project, is doing really well too on iNaturalist. Because anybody from around the world, if they see a fish washed up on the beach, or they're diving or snorkeling and they photograph a fish, or they're angling or spearfishing or doing deep sea research with a ROV, if they photograph a fish and they don't know what it is, they can stick it up on Australasian Fishes project and somebody will identify it for them. So this is where the power of, again, getting back to the public, the power of citizen science comes in. We've only got so many scientists here, and in fact the number of scientists is diminishing in a way. We're utilising all those eyes of the public in all those different places around Australia and New Zealand where the project works. That's one of the things that does concern me too, as our museum population, the research staff population ages. We're getting to the point where I'm very concerned that we will lose expertise, and in Australia we don't have the university courses that teach taxonomy. Other parts of the world they still do that, but we're going to lose this expertise, and so we're going to become essentially dumber than we were as these people start to retire and we lose their knowledge.